but you guys already know my sales style, right? So I said, of course I can, you know? And they're like, how much is that gonna cost me? And I knew I gotta charge more money. This other model wasn't working. So I said, this will cost you $1,000. So I started charging $1,000 for each one of my clients for me to rank them well in Google. So what I did, back to the library. Now I got 5 clients to pay $1,000. Now I got $5,000. Finally, I'm above water. I can breathe again. I go to the library and I start working on these websites, trying to rank them in Google. It took me about a month of trial and error, working about, I don't know, probably 10 hours a day, just everything I could to try to get them to rank in Google. And then boom, I got my first client to rank in Google. I remember this client was like a cat furniture, I think it was, if I can recall this correctly, it's been years. It was like a cat furniture store, and basically they had all this cat furniture and cat toys and cat houses and all these cat related terms. And then I didn't know anything about how much traffic came from Google. All I knew is when you search cat houses, I wanted my client to be in the top 10 for the word cat houses and cat toys and cat furniture. But I had no idea how many people searched for that on a monthly basis. So I got this client listed and ranked. And then they called me up and they said, what on earth did you do? And I said, I'm pretty pumped. I got you ranked in there. They're like, no, you have no idea. Like, we can't handle the amount of business we're getting now.
Nice.
We can't handle it. And I mean, I went to Google and I would just search like cat furniture and they were like the second site, right? I had no idea how many people were searching for cat furniture. It just didn't dawn on me. So then I went to my cookie company client. Here's a little local cookie company that sells their cookies. And I said, okay, well, I'm gonna get you listed and ranked for each one of your brands of cookies, each one of your types of cookies. Chocolate peanut butter, chocolate chip, or whatever. You know, something macadamia cookie, something cookie recipes, whatever all these cookie terms were. Mint chocolate chip cookies online. Buy mint chocolate chip cookies. And next thing you know, I got in the top 10 for all of those. And then they called me up and they said, hey, I just want to say, great job. If you want, here's free cookies for life for you. They literally gave me free cookies for life. Then I had a clothing company, and this clothing company had suits and designer clothes and stuff like that they ranked. So I said, give me a list of all the brands that you sell clothes for. All the suit brands and the shoes brands and the shirt brands and the belt brands. And I just ranked in the top 10 for each one of those. And I'm telling you, it was like, part of it was being in the right place at the right time. Part of it was being early to this, but I focused so hard, and I kid you not, I mean, all their brands. I remember they would have brands like Tommy Hilfiger, Tommy Bahama, Ralph Lauren, and if you typed in like Ralph Lauren polos, Tommy Bahama t-shirts, Tommy Hilfiger clothing, they were in the top 10. And they just said, and I only charged them $2,000 for this, because I didn't understand the value of what I had, and I didn't understand the value of myself. To me, $2,000 was enough for me to go back to my friends and say, haha, look at me now, you know, I'm balling, right? Because I had made $2,000, and that's way more than more than they made in a whole month, because mind you, we were broke. So that was as big as my mind could think, was that $2,000 was like, I don't even need another client for a couple months. That's how crazy I was, right? But this client, for Christmas, sent me this big package with these shoes, these suits, designer clothing and everything. I called them up. I go, how much is this stuff? They're like, oh, that's a $10,000 package. You just sent me $10,000 worth of clothing? They're like, oh yeah, you made us over $1 million. As soon as that happened, I think they thought it would motivate me to help them, and it did not. I was like, whatever I'm doing, I'm making the money for the wrong people. I'm charging $2,000 and they're making $1 million. So that's when I had my first paradigm shift about business. And granted, I'm still in this little square foot studio. I'm still broke. No car. No laptop. Okay? And I'm making clients $1 million. And I'm accepting their money before I even knew what I was doing. I accepted $1,000 before I even knew how to rank a site in Google. I just figured I'll figure it out. If you're willing to pay me money, I don't care what it is, you know? You tell me you want something, I'll go figure it out and I'll make it happen. So I had this paradigm shift and I thought, oh my God, you know what I could do? Why don't I start my own clothing business? And then I can make the $1 million. So then I researched it online, how to start your own clothing business. Where do you get these clothes from? And I realized, okay, that's way too hard to buy clothes and have inventory and how do I ship it? This whole world of e-commerce scared me. So I came up with a better idea. Why don't I just partner with like Amazon? I looked up Amazon and I could sell all of their products. So here's what I did. I built my first store. All it was, the first store I did something I felt like I understood, which was a store called Surf, Skate, Snow. It was surfing gear, skateboarding gear, and snowboarding gear. Because like, whatever, that's a kid. I grew up as a sponsored skater for Santa Cruz Skateboards. Literally just a little ghetto kid trying to figure out this world and didn't understand it. Surf, skate, snow was like my first business. I applied the same strategies I used for my clients, and I said, okay, let me see if I can get ranked in the top 10 for the word snowboard boots. And I did. For the word snowboard boots. Like literally, I was like number 5 for just the word snowboard boots. And then I said, okay, snowboard binding, snowboard gear, snowboard accessories, snowboard jackets, snowboard helmets. And then I said, let me try the brands. Buy Burton snowboards online, buy this and that. Then let me get all the skateboard decks and all the surfing gear and all this kind of stuff. The site blew up. I mean, we're talking, I had cracked the code, Google, I had figured out how to rank at Google, the site blew up, and I'm selling Amazon products. Amazon gives me a check for, you know, a couple $1,000s or whatever it was in commissions. And now I'm going, great, I'm making money for myself, but it's not $1 million. How do I make like a bigger money? And then the random luck, it's not even really luck. When you're taking massive action in your business, you're gonna come across some very interesting ways to make money, okay? And what happened was I came full circle back around to Google. Google had a program at the time called Google AdSense. Google AdSense, and what it was, here's how it worked. Google has these little ads, and you just add them to your site, and if somebody clicks on them, you get paid. Okay? Essentially, you can have advertisers on your site, but I don't have to talk to any advertisers. I put ads on my site, Google handles the whole process, and they get paid. So I thought, let me just see what happens. So one of my clients was saying, Chris, can you rank us even better in Google? I said, sure, $5,000, or I'll do it for you for free. Just let me put these ads on the site, because I want to test and see how well these work. They said, for sure, free, throw the ads up, it's all yours. So I went to one of my clients, I did some the updates they wanted, and I put the ads on there. One client, one set of ads, okay? Forgot about it, because I didn't even know how to track it, I was new. Google sent me a check for $3,000 just for putting the ads on that site. $3 grand. And it was like, well, what if I put them on all the sites? So then I made a deal with these clients, and I said, okay, well, I'll go and I'll update all your sites. Let me just put these ads on the bottom. Very simple thing, just those little ads on the bottom. They didn't mind. So then I put them on the bottom. Google sent me a check, 10 grand. And then I thought, okay, let me read how these ads work. And it goes, oh, if you put the ad in this way and you make it this color and you make it this size, you can get higher conversions. Next month, $20,000. Now, here's this broke young kid living in this 200 square foot studio, just hustling. I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was staying at her house all the time because it was 300 square feet. So, you know, so I was always over at her house because I needed that extra space. And broke. And then I got this $20,000 check. It all just happened so fast. In 3 months, my life changed. It went to like, whatever it was, thousands, and then 10,000, and 20,000 a month. And I kid you not, here's how crazy my mind thinks. I went to my best friend George, who was at work. He was a milkman, woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning and delivered milk to businesses. I went to my best friend George, said, George, come here. We like closed all the windows, closed the door so nobody could hear us in his room, and I showed him. I said, look at this. Look at that. He's like, that's not real. And I said, yeah, it is. I literally, when I got my check, first thing I did was cashed it and then pulled it out of the bank just in case they tried to take it back. So like, I got it in cash, right? I got it in cash. Like, I'm not taking any chances, but I said, this is real. And he's like, well, it's illegal. And I'm like, well, look at the rules. It's not illegal. Like, it's legitimately, I'm ranked in Google. I get a lot of traffic and I just put these ads on. That's all I'm doing. There's nothing illegal. If you can rank in Google, you can rank in Google. And he says, can you teach me? I said, listen, our friends, all these people we associate with are all negative. I was reading books like Think and Grow Rich. I was reading books like, you know, The Greatest Salesman in the World, you know, people like Napoleon Hill and Og Mandino and Sharon Lecter, right? Back then. And I'm reading these people and I'm like, we got to get out of here. And I made another one of the gutsiest decisions in my life. I said, I'm moving out of town. He's like, where? I said, I don't even care. It's got to be close enough I can come back and see my family, but far enough that like we don't have to do it all the time. You know, like we're too far. Oh, I'm too far away. It's like, well, how far is that? I got like 3 hours. We went on a map. We found a place that was 3 hours away, and I moved there. Never been there before. Don't know anybody there. Nothing about it. I just chose a spot that was 3 hours away, so I wouldn't have to go to anybody's events, go to anybody's parties. I wouldn't have to turn down anybody. So I could just put my head behind this computer, because the more time I spent behind this computer, the more money I made. So we moved all the way out there to a city we're outside of Sacramento, California, to a city I'd never been in, no friends, no anything, right? Got an apartment together, a tiny little apartment, and literally all day long started building these sites. Killed it. Multiple six-figure income. My best friend George, who didn't even have a computer, didn't even understand any more computers, I taught him how to do it, and he was making $5 grand a month. More than he was making at his job. We were just sitting there watching movies, having fun. Then what happened was it all fell apart. Google will make these updates, okay, where they'll shuffle the results in the search engines. And, you know, it's to keep it from people being able to game the system, you know, and be able to dominate all top spots. So every time they would do one of these, I had to relearn everything over again. No problem the first couple of times. But one time they got me, they shuffled everything, and I couldn't figure out how to get the sites ranked again, but I wouldn't give up. I kept trying, until I eventually just ran out of money. Didn't have any money, wasn't able to get anything ranked, and my nice multiple six-figure business came crashing down. It came crashing down so hard that we got evicted from the apartment. It came crashing down so hard that I ended up in a negative bank account. I took out a couple of credit card loans to try to help me survive, and I ended up with a 485 credit score, and I hit the worst rock bottom I've ever experienced as an entrepreneur. Here's this guy who had figured it all out, making killer money, and then lost it all. It got so bad that literally we couldn't even afford to like keep the electricity on. They were starting to shut stuff off in the, you know, they shut like, I don't know if anybody can relate, they shut like the water off, they shut electricity off. The craziest thing happened. We were so broke that I literally told my friend George, that same friend, I said, I quit. This entrepreneurship thing is too hard. If I just had a stable job, I wouldn't have to go through this roller coaster, and I literally quit being an entrepreneur. The craziest thing you could ever imagine. Here's what it felt. Let me ask you guys a question. Let me make sure we're engaged here. Let me take you off topic and show you how it's relevant. Okay? So interact with me, shout out your answer right here. I got a question for you. How long do you think somebody can live without food? If you didn't have any food, how long do you think you can live? Shout it out.
2 weeks.
7 days, how long?
10 days.
A month? 10 days? 3 weeks? What do you guys think? How long can someone live without food? No food, can't eat food.
Fasting.
40 days.
A month.
40 days? Stored energy, what would you say? How many?
Well, depends on how much fat you have.
6 months?
If you have no stored energy.
No, if you have no stored energy, so I guess we have an alien body with all stored energy.
No, it's called fat.
Call fat. Let's say for the sake of it, since I'm not a doctor and I don't know a lot about stored energy, are we safe to say you can last weeks without food? You can go weeks without food. Fair enough, right? Okay, change topic. So you know the struggle not having food. You can last weeks. How long can you last without water?
4 days.
Days? How many? Shout it out. 3? 4 days? Okay, so for the sake of keeping it simple, let's just say days. You can last days without water. You can last weeks without food. How long can you last without oxygen?
Minutes.
Shoot it out. How long can you last?
4 minutes.
Minutes? How many minutes?
4.
3 tops.
2 tops? So if you hold your breath for 2 minutes, you're just dead, right? You don't get a breath. Okay, we'll just say minutes. So you can last weeks without food. You can last days without water. You can last minutes without oxygen. But of those 3, which one do we think about the most? Food. Which one do we think about the second most? Water. The one that's the most important we don't think about. Now, why don't we think about oxygen?
It's universal energy.
It's all around us. We don't think about it. Well, here's the thing. As soon as you take it away from somebody, it's all they think about. If I took you and I took your head and I dunked it underwater, the only thing would you be thinking about food? No. You'd be thinking about breathing, air, oxygen. So that's what happens when we get financially dunked underwater. I got dunked underwater financially, and all I could think about was money. It's the only thing. Money, 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 money. When you are broke, when you're struggling, it's the thing that dominates you. Where can I get this money? How can I pay these bills? What can I do? All it was is money. But like oxygen, if you have plenty of money around you all the time, you don't even think about it. So all I had this goal to make money like oxygen, to create enough where it was all around me where I didn't have to think about it anymore, because it dominated my thoughts. Everything about money dominated my thoughts. That experience completely changed everything for me. That experience being 485 credit score, negative bank account, getting evicted from the house, which we did get evicted from, okay? Fighting with my girlfriend, because that's what you do when you also don't have money. It's you fight all the time. And all this stuff was going on. And my friend George came to me and said, hey, I found another opportunity for us to make money doing sales. We started up a new sales business, but this time I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right.